Strike hard, strike fast, no mercy. And I think that's what we're going to see with the Motorola RAZR 3, going to be debuted, announced on August the 2nd. And that's really cool. I've been waiting for this phone for a long time. This may be the phone I've been most interested in all year because there's been some game-changing stuff that's happened over the last year or two, talking about the flip phones, and I'm sorry, Motorola needed to go back to the drawing board. As much as I like the Moto RAZR 5G, it just didn't have enough, like in the spec department, to compete with the Z Flip. Although in practicality, it turned out to be a good phone, and I found that out after I kind of criticized it a little bit. So that's actually something I try to kind of throttle it back a little bit before I'm able to test phones out. It's a very good illustration. With the new one thing I was excited to see, it's been confirmed, 3,500 milliamp battery. Now, the last one, if I remember correctly, about a 2,800 milliamp battery. But what we're going to see with this one is the Snapdragon 8 Plus Generation 1, a true flagship processor. We're looking at 2 cameras on the outside, looking at, from what we're expecting to see, a 6.7-inch screen, 120 hertz, 3-inch screen on the outside. Well, here's one thing that I was really excited about. Once we got the Z Flip 3, I thought that we're going to get a more functional outside screen. And we didn't get that. We got a larger kind of a notification screen. Really, you can't interact with it all that much. It's not so much functional as it is maybe gives you a little bit more information. Well, the Motorola RAZR had that locked down with the Motorola RAZR, especially the 5G phone. Now, we're looking at a 3-inch screen on the outside, about the same as last go around, think a little bit bigger, but what we're going to see is we're going to finally have a flagship processor underneath the hood. Now, this does have some concerns with it, though, because when we had the last one, yeah, it was a smaller battery, but it also had the much more power-efficient Snapdragon 765G. We know that when it comes to these flagship processors, they can burn up some serious battery. However, I think with the 8 Plus Generation 1, what we're seeing and what is kind of, I think, talked about across the board is its capability to really use a lot less power under normal everyday tasks. So it'll give you the power that you need when you want it, but hopefully it's not going to be burning up the battery all the time. So we're going to have to test it out once it gets here, but at least it's reassuring that we're getting about a 700 milliamp spec bump on the battery. And that's also something you're going to see with the Z Flip 4. The Z Flip 3 had a woefully small 3,300 milliamp battery, and it was not the greatest in the world with the Z Flip 5G, but when they went to the Z Flip 3, added 120 hertz screen, they added a bigger processor, they added stereo speakers. There's just a lot of stuff that they added that was there to kind of soak up that battery. So what the rumor is there is it's supposed to get about a 3,700 milliamp battery. I think it's going to make the two compete pretty well on the same page. A lot of that's going to come down to software optimization and how the phone actually functions. But when it comes to having a front screen that you can actually use more like a phone, that's going to be some more battery savings because you're not going to be opening up the phone to use the larger display all the time. So I think that it's going to be a pretty fair trade-off. I think what we'll see is in real-world usage, not just opening the screen and then playing a video and seeing how long it takes to kill it, but for somebody who normally uses the phone, if you have the ability to interact, watch a YouTube video on the outside versus the inside, to be able to reply to a text message on the outside, that's going to save you all that opening and closing, which the screen being on is the biggest thing that burns up your battery. So I think that even though it's going to be about a 200 milliamp difference, I think it'll be mostly negligible. And the phone experience is going to be key here. Phone experience will be key. It will be king when it comes to these two phones because they're really the only two flip phones here in the United States. Now, if you look elsewhere, you got Honor, you got Huawei, you got, I think, even Vivo. There's a couple other kids on the block, but not in the United States. So a lot of this is going to come down to marketing and pricing. I don't know what the pricing is. Some stuff I've seen as far as the rumor mill, I think it might be closer to $1,100. That might be the biggest problem because when it comes to the phone, it's not when the phones first came out. We're talking about 3rd and 4th generation on these phones now, and what Samsung was able to achieve with the Z Flip 3 was huge, dropping it from $1,449 to $999. So we're going to have to see. August 2nd is quickly approaching, and I think Motorola did this right. They're getting out in front of the Z Flip. Now, I hope that pre-orders go live or sales go live. I don't know anything about when those dates are supposed to be. When it comes with Samsung, what happens is, so August 10th is going to be the Unpacked event. Well, usually about 2 weeks after that, they start shipping, but they will go on sale for pre-order basically as soon as the event ends. So we'll have to see what we get from Motorola. Also, Motorola's got their kind of side-by-side X30, and that's also something that really helps out a lot and will be telling when it comes to price. When it came to the Motorola RAZR, it was a standalone unit. It was just one phone. They spent a lot of money on it, and because they were not able to share that hardware across different platforms, it cost more money. With the new Motorola X30, what you're going to get is you're going to get the same processor and some of the same features on the inside. So hopefully, because they're able to make two phones with essentially the same hardware, that will allow it to bring down the cost some. And if that's what they did to bring the cost down to about $1,100, we'll have to see. But again, I don't want to harp too much on the price because we're still waiting to see what that looks like. But I think it's going to result in more good than bad. So we'll just have to see what's going on. August 2nd, I'm going to follow up as soon as the phone is available and we can talk about it then. Very, very excited about this phone because I fell in love with the Motorola RAZR 5G. And this one, I think from an experience perspective, it's probably going to be the one to have when it comes to a flip phone, at least from all the initial stuff that we're seeing. And I think that the Motorola RAZR may be the one to have based off of the experience factor, because from everything we're seeing about the Z Flip 4, which we'll find out soon enough, August 10th is just around the corner, they're not really changing anything fundamentally as far as the experience goes or the screen on the outside or making it more functional. So for those of you who are a RAZR fan, hold tight just a couple of days from now. If you're watching this later, then of course we know these things, but prospectively, I'm excited. So what about you? Are you excited about the new RAZR? I've had a lot of people that have really been wanting to know about this one, and they're waiting for this phone to come out. So it'll be exciting to see how it's received once it hits the market. So that's all I've got. If you have any questions or comments, please go down to the comment section. I'll get back with you. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys next time.